Hi, Mel here, and in today's video, I'll be sharing my recent experience flying with Qatar Airways. I had a 15-hour flight booked from Doha to Chicago in Q Suites, Qatar's best business class product. But on the day of my flight, I was surprised by an equipment swap that had me going from Qatar's best business class product to their worst business class product. How did my flight turn out? Was it a complete disappointment, or was it better than I expected? I hope you'll come along with me to find out. Also, if you enjoy this type of content, I hope you'll hit the like button and subscribe. And with that out of the way, let's get started. Last month, I had the opportunity to visit the beautiful country of Thailand. I spent time in both Bangkok and Phuket before starting my journey back to Chicago. My trip home included a 7-hour Q Suites flight from Phuket to Doha, then an overnight stay at Doha Airport, followed by a 15-hour Q Suites flight from Doha to Chicago. The first leg of my trip was fantastic. Then I arrived at Doha Airport after midnight, and for the next 8 hours, I had a great time enjoying 2 different lounges. I'll be doing reviews of both my flight from Phuket to Doha and my overnighter at the Doha airport, so stay tuned for both. Finally, the time arrived for my 15-hour flight back home. I left the lounge and headed to my gate. When I arrived, I got in line, and when I reached the gate agent, he gave me a new boarding pass, explaining that there had been an equipment swap and my seat had changed. My original flight was supposed to be on a 777-300ER equipped with 42 Q Suites based on the Collins Aerospace platform, arranged with forward-facing and rear-facing seats, with all seats having direct aisle access. I had booked seat 5A, which was a rear-facing window seat. The equipment swap was to another 777-300ER, but this time the plane was equipped with Qatar's oldest and arguably worst business class, 42 Collins Aerospace mini-pods arranged in a 2x2x2 configuration. My new seat assignment was seat 5J, which was a bulkhead aisle seat. I'll admit I was a little disappointed to not be flying Q Suites, and also disappointed that I had lost my window seat. But as I boarded the flight, I reminded myself that at least I was still flying business class. And Qatar usually provides fantastic food and service, so that's great. And this would give me the opportunity to experience a Qatar product I'd never flown before. So looking at the brighter side of things, I headed down the jet bridge to the plane. Business class aboard my flight was divided into 2 cabins. I was in the second cabin in a bulkhead seat, so I made my way through the front cabin to reach my seat. When I arrived, I found all the usual amenities waiting for me: 2 pillows, a blanket, and an amenity kit. The seat itself is rather old-looking, but it's also soft and very well cushioned. I think the biggest downside of this business class configuration, especially if you're flying solo, is the close proximity of your seatmate and the clear lack of privacy. I was very lucky on this flight though, and my seatmate ended up being a really nice person, so thankfully no issues on that front. I sat down and took a look around. The first thing I noticed were the individual air vents and the 2 windows. Both are big pluses in my book. To the left are the seat controls. As I discovered later in the flight, the controls are actually really good. I could make very fine adjustments to many different parts of the seat, and there's even a massage function. Another plus is the legroom, which is very generous. Less ideal are the storage options. There is a literature pocket on the bulkhead wall, but it's pretty full and it's too far from the seat to be of much use. Then to the right of the seat is a small storage area with the headphone jack inside. The amount of storage space is very minimal though. I was barely able to fit my Kindle inside. And the only other storage is under the console. There was a bottle of water inside, but if necessary, I guess you could store things in the empty area to the right of the water. Because I was in the bulkhead, my entertainment screen was stored in the middle console. The remote is to my right, and there's an adjustable light there as well. The tray table is also on the right. Simply pull up and unfold. Charging my phone was not easy in this seat. The only power outlet is near the floor, tucked back at a very awkward angle to the seat. I could access it if my seat was upright, but not at all when the seat was flat. Before takeoff, the flight attendant provided a wet towel and a pre-departure drink. I selected Qatar's signature mint lemonade, which is always a good choice. The safety announcement began, and shortly after, we began pulling away from the gate. And then we were headed down the runway for takeoff. Once the seatbelt sign was turned off, I headed to the bathroom. There was a full-length mirror on the door, plus 2 other large mirrors. A standard toilet, a changing table, and a standard sink. To the right of the sink is a drawer with a picture of a toothbrush. If you open it, you'll find complimentary kits, each with a toothbrush and a small tube of toothpaste. Also on the right are diptyque bottles of infused facial water and lotion. There were 2 different amenity kits passed out on my flight, presumably a black amenity bag for men and an ivory amenity bag for women. For some reason, I was given both, which was great because I really wanted to see if they contained the same items. And as I suspected, the contents of both bags were almost identical. Both included socks, an eye mask, and earplugs, diptyque lotion, face cream, lip balm, and eau de toilette. The only difference was in the type of eau de toilette. The women's bag contained Dew Son, which is a combination of orange blossom, jasmine, marine accord, and tuberose. And the men's bag contained Philocycos, which is a combination of scents from the fig tree. Next, I decided to take a look at the menus. The cellar menu offers a solid selection of fine wines, including a couple of champagne options, 2 white wine selections, a rosé, 3 different red wines, and 2 sweet wines. Also on offer are cocktails, spirits, liqueurs, and beer. For the food menu, the first page outlines the breakfast options, as well as 4 light meals you can order anytime throughout the flight. The second page of the menu provides a number of options for the main meal of the flight. This meal can also be served anytime you want it. I think Qatar's anytime dining option is one of the things that sets them apart from other airlines. The menu also includes a wide range of beverages, including 5 different mocktails. I placed my order for breakfast and took a look at the in-flight entertainment system while I waited for the food to arrive. The noise-canceling headphones are fine in terms of quality and are pretty comfortable. I plugged them into the port in the small storage space on my right. The screen is far enough away that the remote becomes a necessity. It offers a remote for gaming on one side and a TV-style remote on the other. The good news is that I'm pretty sure the in-flight entertainment menu is the same across transatlantic flights. But the bad news is that the size and quality of the screen is not good at all. Maybe it's because I was in the bulkhead, but honestly, it was terrible. I gave up trying to watch something within minutes because it was just unpleasant. I then decided to connect to Wi-Fi so I could watch something on my phone. Wi-Fi had been free on my earlier Q Suites flight, but there was a $10 charge on this flight. It's a very reasonable fee, but I found it really odd that it would be free on one plane and not on another. Having eaten a large breakfast in the lounge before my flight, I decided to just order a few light options for breakfast. The Evergreen Organics Energizing Citrus Drink, the Greek yogurt with spiced plum and toasted granola, the seasonal fresh fruit, and the bakery selection. My juice arrived first and was very refreshing. Qatar Airways always does such a great job with meal presentation. Even for breakfast, they provide a tablecloth and a candle to elevate the experience. I enjoyed everything: the yogurt, the bakery items, and the fruit. Towards the end of my meal, I ordered a cappuccino with honey, and that was great too. All in all, a great breakfast. As soon as I finished eating, I decided to prepare for a bit of sleep. I went to the bathroom to brush my teeth and change into the complimentary pajamas that the flight attendant had passed out. Back at my seat, I put on the mattress pad and put my seat in the lie flat position. With the blanket and pillows in place, it looked really comfortable and inviting. I surprised myself and got a full 6 hours of sleep. Knowing there was no way I would be able to sleep longer than that, I decided to read and enjoy another cappuccino. A couple of hours later, I decided to order my main meal. I was actively trying to avoid jet lag on this trip, so I decided to skip the alcohol options and instead order a pineapple margarita mocktail. I've had it before on Qatar and I love it. For dinner, I ordered the chai pumpkin soup, the braised beef short ribs with cauliflower puree, baby spinach, and potato galette, the bakery selection of breads, and the warm praline cookie for dessert. As with breakfast, the setup and presentation were top-notch. The soup was very good. It was sweet and creamy with an interesting layering of flavors. The beef short ribs arrived next and were accompanied by a choice of mustards as well as a mustard seed sauce. Overall, I found the meat to be tender and flavorful. I also enjoyed the cauliflower puree and the spinach. But the item that I thought would be a potato galette tasted more like a bread dish than a potato dish, and I thought it was really dry. I did enjoy the actual bread though. Qatar provides both butter and a choice of flavored olive oils, both of which I always enjoy. My final course was dessert, the praline cookie, but I would describe it as more of a brownie. It was amazing though, and the praline sauce was incredible. I had also ordered tea with cream and honey, and the tea and dessert were the perfect ending to my meal. As we started our descent, and I made my best attempt to film the landing from my aisle seat, I had a chance to think over my experience in what has been called Qatar's worst business class. What did I think? Well, obviously the hard product is a big step down from Q Suites, both in terms of age, condition, and privacy. As a solo traveler, the lack of privacy was probably the biggest con for me. Luckily, I had a very nice seatmate, but what if you're not so lucky? Also, I really missed having a window seat, and if I'd had a window seat, I wouldn't have had direct aisle access. With Q Suites, on the other hand, I would have had both a window and direct aisle access, not to mention a closing door. I was also disappointed in the lack of storage and the poor in-flight entertainment screen. Maybe I've been spoiled by the newer business class products I usually get to experience, but all I know is that it was a big step down from what I'm used to. But it wasn't all bad. In terms of comfort, I was surprisingly pleased with the actual seat. I thought it was very comfortable, and the micro adjustments I was able to make with the seat controls made the entire 15-hour journey a comfortable one, whether I was sitting up or lying down. I also always enjoy my dining experiences with Qatar, and this flight was no exception. I enjoy the dine anytime flexibility Qatar offers, and I think both the food and drinks are consistently well prepared and presented. Finally, the great service that I have come to love from Qatar was absolutely just as good on this flight as ever. The flight attendants were all extremely nice and responsive, and you could tell that they really wanted to make our journeys as comfortable and memorable as possible, and for that, I'm very grateful. This is a good time to mention that, as always, my travel experiences are not paid for, sponsored, or discounted in any way, and nobody was informed that I was doing this review. In terms of how much I paid for this flight, it was a single award ticket for the entire journey home, from Phuket to Doha to Chicago. I purchased the flight directly on the Qatar website for 95,000 avios plus $260 in taxes and fees. Thanks for coming along today. Comment below if you have any questions. And if you've flown with Qatar yourself, have you ever been scheduled to fly Q Suites and surprised by a last-minute equipment change? What did you think of the older product? If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It's a great way to help the channel and enables me to make more videos like this one. Until next time, happy travels.